Hey, so it is January 4th now, 5th, and I need to do my December wrap-up because I am over it. I'm over these books since it's New Year, and I've already done end of the year favorites and things, so I almost feel like this is redundant. But anyways, I will share with you the books that I've read in December. I don't even remember how many it was, to be honest. I feel like December was a million years ago, and it was only like 5 days ago. 26. I read 26 books in the month of December, and it was a good reading month. It was a slower reading month. December always tends to be, because it's just a crazy time of year for me and for everybody. So I guess without further ado, I will talk to you about my December books in no particular order, although I probably should do it in particular order, but I'm not going to. I read Dark Matter, and I ended up giving this 4 stars, I think. Oh my, this is gonna be rough. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. It is a sci-fi thriller, I guess, and it is about a man who gets mugged and taken to a scary garage and gets injected with something, and then when he wakes up, he's in a different reality. His wife's not his wife anymore, and his kid doesn't exist, and etc, etc. So he goes on a journey to find his real family. I think I've read things like this before. I don't know. I grew up watching Quantum Leap with my parents because I'm old, and lighters, so it was a concept I had come in contact with before, but I did like it. I thought it was good. The end was crazy, and I thought that concept was fun to think about, and it hurt my brain a little bit, but I liked it. I gave it 4 stars, I think. Hot take, I have no idea. The next one I'm going to talk about is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is about a girl in a fantasy world, but it's sort of a stand-in for China. And her name is Rin, and she has to take this test because if she doesn't get out of this town, she's going to be married off to somebody. She's a war orphan, so she doesn't have many prospects, so she decides she's going to put her whole heart into passing this test called the Kaju, I think, and she ends up succeeding and getting into this war college, and things spiral from there. She learns things about her origins and things about the world and her country, and maybe, you know, aren't so favorable, and it is and there's this nation across the sea that's always going to war with them, so it's heartbreaking and pretty brutal, and I like this. I'm going to definitely continue on with the series. I gave it 5 stars. I read The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman. I thought this was really cute. I gave this 4 stars as well. I thought this was cute. It's just about this introverted woman, and she works at a bookstore, and her mom was absent most of her life. She was in her life, but she was mostly taken care of by nannies because her mom's a photographer and she travels the world. One day, a lawyer turns up at her place of work and says, hey, your father, who she never met and never had anything to do with, died and left you something in his will. You need to come to the reading of the will, and now you have all this family you have to deal with. So it's her dealing with that, and also maybe finding love and self-acceptance, etc, etc. So it's a heartwarming feel, but I really liked it. I thought it was fun. You know, bookish people and people with anxiety, introverted leaning folks would probably really enjoy this book. It's just a light-hearted, fun book, and it was one of the Goodreads heartwarming books to get that little badge for heartwarming books. So I was like, oh, I'll read it. I already had it on my TBR, so I might as well. In December, I also read The Second Death of Locke. I loved this. I thought this was so much fun. I am not in the minority on that one. I gave this one 5 stars as well. And this follows Kier and Gray, and Gray is a well, and Kier is a, I think they call them mages. They grew up together, and it's their story about how they move throughout this world where she has the power, but he is the one who can wield it, and they're fighting for their country, and they're at war times, and then there's this the secret that gets revealed, and I really enjoyed that and those aspects. And of course there's yearning and a love story as well in here, and I just thought this was well done, and I'm looking forward to reading more from V.L. Bovalino. And I think there's going to be more books in the series, but they're going to be following different characters, and it's a queer normative world, so I am wondering if some of those books will lean a little queer, which would be cool. So yes, I am happy to have read this and looking forward to the next one. I love the cover. I think it's so pretty. For Christmas, I read Candy Cane Kills. This is about a family that is feeling disconnected from each other, so they decide to go out to this Airbnb cabin, and the father does not do much research about it, and they're there for Christmas, and they get stuck in the snowstorm, and they learn about the seedy past of this cabin, and it's a slasher, so you can imagine what happens. But I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a fun, silly, goofy time, and I gave it 4 stars. At the beginning of the month, I did read Silver Elite. I wanted to get it. I don't even know what on. Oh, I know. My Libby hold came in for this, so I was like, all right, I guess we'll give it a try. I got this from Book of the Month when it was available, not knowing much about it, and I know there's been some controversy about it, like, who is Danny Francis? We don't know, but at the same time, an author doesn't want to be identified. I don't want to speculate on that. Authors have been doing that for centuries, so if that is the case, then I don't think we should be speculating on that. I think with AI and everything, people are so suspicious of stories and authors, and I can understand that because in the back of my mind, I am suspicious too sometimes. However, I think we need to be careful of accusing people, even spreading rumors that something could be AI or have used AI to be written, because you could be in fact insulting people that have put their heart and soul into things. We just need to be careful. That's a side note of spreading those rumors and things. But anyways, I don't really have thoughts on the controversy other than it's not a good enough book to argue about, in my opinion. It was fine. The dystopian world is very shallow. We don't really know. I mean, it's not fleshed out at all, really. In this world, there are mods and there are people that aren't mods. And those who are mods are subjugated and killed or forced to work in, you know, prison camps, etc. There is this group of people called the Silver Elite, and they're mostly like cops that go around and uncover rebellion, etc., etc. Our main character is a mod, and she has to go undercover into this training program because if she doesn't, she will be sent to one of these work camps or killed. And they don't know that she is a mod because she's a special mod, that her veins don't glow silver when she uses her psychic powers. It's about her pretending and getting to know some of these people that she thought were her enemy that maybe she feels are friends now, and lying to everyone because she has to stay alive and to complete her missions. And yeah, so I thought it was interesting, and there's a love story in here as well, which I thought was interesting. I thought it was fine. That's my assessment of Silver Elite. I thought it was fine. I don't know if I'll pick up the next one. Maybe I'll get it from the library. I have no interest in keeping it on my shelves, so I'm probably going to unhaul this. Someone else can read it. I thought it was fine. I gave it a 3. Ugh. Ellie's being a pest, so she can sit with me for a second, and then she's gonna go outside. Say hello to the people. Yeah, anyway, I read The Serpent and the Wolf as well, and this is by Rebecca Robinson. This is for an in real life book club that I attend monthly. I gave this one a 2. It wasn't for me. I lost interest in it. I had it on audio and physically, neither worked for me. I thought the first couple of chapters were interesting. There's a woman and she gets married off, brought to this kingdom, and the first night she tries to kill her husband. She didn't want to be married off to this guy, and her brother's a piece of shit and marries her off anyway for political gains. Yeah, and there's like some magic that she can do, and she doesn't know how to control it, and it's like burning her up inside, and she has to figure out how to harness that. And then of course her and her husband that she didn't want to get married to end up falling in love and fighting for whatever. Anyway, I don't care. I gave it 2 stars. It was a lackluster fantasy romance for me. I definitely will not be picking up the second one. My tummy is a growling, Ellie Bell. It's a growl. Let me see, what else we got? What else we got? Physical books. Oh, I read The Library at Hellebore by Cassandra Kah. I have read The Salt Grows Heavy, and I enjoyed that. I picked this up because it just looked interesting. It's dark academia about a girl in a school that has lots of kids with lots of weird powers and supernatural beings and antichrists, etc., etc. And at the school, they are encouraged to kill each other. And if they don't kill each other, the school might, the teachers might, the the librarian creature mite, and this is about her and some other students trying to survive graduation and be able to leave the school, which apparently they just kill everybody towards the end. There's some interesting stuff in here. There's some interesting imagery. I had a little bit of trouble grounding myself within the story. I enjoy being confused, but with purpose and with intent, and I did not find that here. I think I gave it a 2.5 for the characters and stuff. I would have been interested in hearing more about many of these characters, but that's not what this story is about. The story is more about the actions in it. And I mean, there's underlying themes of bodily autonomy and women, feminism, etc. But it just didn't stick it for me. It didn't come across very well for me. So I ended up giving it a 2.5, I think. Well, maybe I did end up giving it rounding it up to a 3, but I just felt like I was floating around in the abyss while I was reading this. So 2.5 maybe would have been my actual rating. Oh, where's that book? I guess I read Problematic Summer Romance this month too. I don't know where that is at the moment. Later me is gonna have to put that in. But I read Problematic Summer Romance by Abby Jimenez. I gave it a 3.25. I thought it was fine, I guess. I liked it better than the one that came before that in this series. And I am not sure I remember what it's called. Not in Love, maybe? Maybe that's it. Yeah, I enjoy Abby Jimenez, but Allie Hazelwood. So I read Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood, and I thought it was fine. The main male character is an older dude. It's a brother's best friend trope romance, and the girl is in her early 20s. And the guy is like older, like by 10 or 13 years or something. That was slightly icky, but it didn't bother me too much. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fine. I gave it 3.5. It wasn't my favorite Allie Hazelwood. It wasn't my least favorite Allie Hazelwood. Like I said, I liked it more than Not in Love, but I liked Deep End more. I liked her STEM books more. I definitely like Mate more. I gave that 5 stars. So yeah, I thought it was fine. Daddy Issues by Kate Goldblack, and that was from the library. I really liked that one. I gave that 4.5 stars. That is another romance. It's a single dad romance, and it follows a woman who kind of loses her way due to the pandemic. She has to move back in with her mom. She had a whole life plan, graduating with her doctorate and, you know, going off into the art world and doing research, etc. And that kind of crashed and burned because of the pandemic. Everything got canceled. She had to move back in with her mom. Now she's working at restaurant where she meets this little girl and her dad, and he's quite a bit older than her too. He works at a Chili's. He's a manager at a Chili's. So it's like very normal dude and a very normal gal, and she has daddy issues because her dad wasn't around a lot. When he was like selling comic books and got her into comics, and she likes to draw comics. So the book is about these two finding love, but also, you know, discovering themselves a little bit, and with her trying to find her footing and find what she loves and her passions and what she wants to do with her life, etc. And I really liked it. I thought it was cute. I thought the love relationship was fun, and I bought into it. And the little girl was cute as well. She reminded me a lot of my daughter because she is talking about drawing her OCs, which are original characters in middle school girl speak. You know, they all have ears and tails and things, and my daughter's very much like that. They talk about furries. So yes, it reminded me of my child a lot, which was also kind of fun, and they were around the same age. So anyway, that is Daddy Issues. I really enjoyed that one. I read How Bad Things Can Get by Darcy Coates, and I really enjoyed that one. That is thriller set on an island, thriller slasher set on an island, and it's like a Mr. Beast-esque competition where influencers come and they have to find this treasure and do these obstacle courses, and something goes wrong. It's like a sketchy place, and people start turning up dead. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was a fun one. Darcy Coates, my brain, it's a 4-star. I thought it was fun. I thought the kills were interesting, and it was a good time. Darcy Coates and I don't always get along. I've read some of her haunted house books that haven't really hit for me. And I've read Dead of Winter, which I liked okay. So her books tend to be sort of middle of the road for me so far, but this one I liked, so I'll keep giving her a shot once in a while. I read Wasp Trap, and that's by Mark Edwards, and I gave that a 3.5, and that is about 6 friends. They were friends in college working together, and their professor that they worked under dies, and they all get together for a wake, but then they are taken prisoner, well, not taken prisoner, but they're held captive at the house of their friends, and told that they need to tell their secrets or they're going to die one by one if they don't tell this secret. And it's them unraveling what's happening, and it's secluded because they're just stuck in this house. Yeah, their past unravels, and in the past they were studying psychopaths, so there's components of that are in there as well. And I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I gave it a 3.5. Thrillers 3 to 4 range, or I still enjoyed them, and I would recommend if you like thrillers. Oh, I fear that my mic is just gonna pick up Ellie snorches, so we'll see how the sound just was for the last 10 minutes. Anyway, I read Broken Country. I don't think I have that physically either. I listened to that on audio. My physical copy is with my mom, and that is about a family and this woman and her husband who lost a son when he was, I think, 9 years old in a tragic accident. And in the first part of the book, the brother of her husband kills this kid's dog because he's on the farm attacking the sheep, etc. And it's the very beginning of the book, and it's about this woman discovering that the father of that son is the one that got away, sort of, the man that she was in love with when she was a young girl, her first love, basically. And it's a story of them reconnecting and what happens after that, and someone ends up dead and you don't know who it is, you don't know what happened until the end. So there's a kind of a thriller mystery aspect to it as well. It's a heartbreaking book in ways. I don't know. I thought it was a bit overdone, I guess. I don't know. It was fine. I didn't like it as much as everyone else did. It didn't affect me that way. Some of it kind of felt brutal for brutal's sake, and some of the reveals towards the end seemed kind of silly in a way. Like it was almost one too many. I don't know. I don't want to give anything away. But anyways, I thought it was a decent book. I liked it. I think I ended up giving it a 4 or a high 3. So I still enjoyed it quite a bit, but I just didn't love it as much as everyone else did, seems to. Oh, I read Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, and that is a holiday romance about a ghost of Christmas Past, falls in love with Harriet, who he is supposed to be her ghost of Christmas past, showing her all the horrible things in her life and making her realize what's important about life. And it turns out that she's not a horrible person, so they're trying to figure out why he was sent to her. And it's their love story, and it's cute and quirky and Christmassy, and I thought it was fine, and I gave it a 3. I read Is This a Cry for Help by Emily Austen, and I did not really like it. I gave it a 2.5. This might be a hot take. I don't know if many people are going to feel this way. There were some quirky, fun, queer aspects to it that I did like. I thought the messaging was important. However, I thought it was like super on the nose. And I just didn't like that. I think it could have been finessed better and would have been more powerful for me. Like, I almost feel like the author didn't trust us to like know that these things were happening. And I just felt like we were hit over the head with the message. Like she works in a library and she's dealing with DEI censorship bullshit, and it's awful. She's dealing with that, and then she's also dealing with like some old boyfriend that wasn't good to her who died, and she's having like anxiety and feelings about that. Yeah, I just thought it was too much of a rant. Issues that are important, but I just didn't find value in it as far as storytelling or plot or character development went. And I'm sad about it because I really did like Emily Austen's Interesting Facts About Space. I liked Room Will Somebody Be Dead, the other one. The one about the lesbian working at a Catholic church. Forget what that one's called, but I like that one. I did not like We Could Be Rats, and I did not like this one, so she's 50% of the books I've read by her. I've liked them 50%. I really haven't. So we'll see. It might be an unpopular opinion. I know there are people out there who like We Could Be Rats, but that one rubbed me the wrong way for sure. Is This Okay for Help at 2.5? I read Pocket Knife Kitty, and this is by Shannon Riley, and this is just a short little horror novella. A lot of blood and guts and grossness. It is about a woman who has casual sex and then lives to regret it. I don't want to say much more than that. And I gave it 4 stars, and I thought it was fun. Lots of body horror. Not much to say about it. It's pretty gruesome though, so if you're not someone who can handle that, I would not recommend. Check trigger warnings, etc., etc. Nothing in there bothered me really. I mean, it was gross, but other than that, I didn't find it to be too crazy. Huh? What do you think? Hopefully you don't hear just her snorching for all this. I read The Lost by Sarah Beth Durst. That was also on NetGalley. It was released recently. It had been released earlier, and they told Sarah Beth Durst that they wanted it to be a series. It was supposed to be a standalone, and so she reworked it so that it could be a series, but then publishing mishaps happened and it ended up never happening, so she's now republished it so it is more of a standalone. This is about a story of a woman who's dealing with her mother. She has cancer, and most likely it's come back, and she hasn't gotten those results back yet. So this woman is avoiding life and going out for a long drive, and she gets lost. She ends up in the town of Lost, and it's a magical town where things that are lost end up, and she has to find what she has lost or she cannot leave this place. So it's interesting. It's definitely heartfelt and heartwarming. There's a kid in it who I really liked, and the main character is interesting. The characters in the town are interesting, but there's like a love story in it, and the guy rhymes and speaks in rhyme and riddles, and I found it very annoying. I wasn't into him at all. I didn't believe in the love story, but overall I did think it was cute, so I gave it 3 stars. I read Cruelty Free. That is also an arc, and that's about a woman who is a tarnished celebrity, and her child was taken when she was a baby, and they never found out who took her. Her body was found, but they did not find out who took her, and this book takes place 10 years later, and it's about her trying to discover what exactly happened and seeking revenge on those people, but it's also about her trying to establish this beauty company. And let's just say the beauty company is not cruelty free. I thought this was interesting. I thought the tone was a little off. I liked what was happening in a lot of parts of it, but like the beginning and the way that the flashbacks and things were done, I wasn't quite, the way in which things were written were a little off for me. I thought, it got weird and silly and unhinged, but the tone of that from the beginning, when like her daughter disappeared, etc., like that's a very serious thing, and it was a more serious tone, and then it gets sort of more not serious, like more parody almost. And I just feel like it would have been better if the tone had held throughout, either a more serious tone or like a more weird tone, like silly, unhinged. And maybe that would have been better if it wasn't a daughter, like a child that got taken. Maybe it would have been better if it was something else that made her leave the spotlight. I don't know. But I liked it. I gave it a 3.5. There were just some things about it that prevented me from giving it a higher rating. I do think it's worth a read. I think it's entertaining for sure. So give it a try if it sounds interesting to you. Ellie, that was an audible fart. That is disgusting. That was not me. Do not blame that on me, Ellie. Now I have to sit here and smell it? That's disgusting. You're gross. Now, this is why I kept saying Abby Jimenez instead of Ellie Hazelwood, because I did read Say You'll Remember Me. Wanted to give it a shot. My friend gives me books all the time that she has read and is on hauling. So I ended up with this one. And I've read the others in the series as well. I did not like Summer Just for the Summer. Is that the one that came before this one? That one was okay. It was interesting and entertaining, but I did not like it that much. This one I actually liked more, which is another hot take, I think. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I don't really want to talk about what it's about because I feel like everyone knows what it's about already. There's a vet and there's a woman and they live in somewhere cold. Wisconsin? No. Minnesota? maybe Minnesota, somewhere up there. They go on this amazing first date that turns into spending the night together, not having sex, just hanging out. And they are incredibly interested in each other, but her mother is dealing with dementia and she needs to move back home to be with her. And that's in California. So they try to make this work long distance, and this is about their struggles with that. There's lots of cute dogs. There's a pug. And I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, maybe because I went into low expectations because so many people didn't like it. I found the pop culture references were a little silly, but they weren't like, I thought the way people were talking about this, that they would be referenced a bajillion times, and it wasn't that bad. So, yeah, I thought this was cute. So shoot me. I even teared up a little bit at the end. So, hot take. I read Evocation by S.T. Gibson. This came up in my Libby too, and I owned it, so I wanted to get this read. I read Dowry of Blood, liked it as much as everyone else I gave it before. I liked Education and Malice as much as the Dowry of Blood, maybe more, so that's a hot take, I guess. And I thought this was fine. I read her new one, Savage Blooms, and that's more of an erotica, and I thought that was fun. This is Evocation. It's about these guys and this gal, and one of the guys and the gal are married. And then there's this other guy that used to be the man in the married relationship's partner, and they have a tumultuous past together, and they all work in some sort of mystical job-ish. They have talents in that arena, but as their job, some of them are just part of the secret society that the both men are a part of. And this guy, what's his name? So David is being haunted / possessed / something is affecting him. He's sick in some way, and he seeks the help of these other two to help him, even though they don't have a good relationship. They're not on speaking terms at the moment. It's about their relationship and them dealing with what's going on, and I thought it was okay. I think I gave it a 4, maybe a 3.5. Yeah, I mean, I just like S.T. Gibson's writing, so even if I don't completely love the story, I'm gonna like the book. Some people are bothered by the cheating ? In here, but I really didn't feel like, I know he kissed him and he's married, but she was also already like feeling that a little bit, like she's feeling him too, and I don't know. I didn't care about that. I thought the relationship between them was kind of cool, and the atmosphere and the vibes of it were fun, and I think I gave it 4 stars. This is a little bit of a mess. It's always going to be a little bit of a mess. I read too much. I read The Hounding by, I think it's Zenobi Purvis. I really like this one. Definitely like a short gothic-y atmospheric tale, low plot. It's about this town where the town believes that this group of girls are turning into dogs. It's kind of like Salem Witch Trial-y in a way, about how girls who aren't fitting the mold of society can be looked at as dangerous and strange and otherworldly, and what happens when these rumors that are being spread by a man with very fragile egos and small minds, and what happens when these rumors are spread and danger that these girls could be in. And I thought it was good. I thought it was very well written. It doesn't get as weird as you might want it to. Definitely more lit fic than anything else, historical fiction lit fic. So keep that in mind. I gave it 5 stars. In fact, Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochran. This is about a woman who works in a coffee shop, and she doesn't have a lot of family. In fact, she only has a mom who does not visit her very often, and it's pretty sad. She lives in a very crappy apartment. She doesn't have a lot of money, and she's trying to get her life on more stable footing. And this guy who owns the building that her restaurant / coffee house is in wants to take her out on a date, so she goes on a date with him, and in order for him to get his inheritance, he has to get married, so he wants her to fake marry him, but really marry him, but, not have a real marriage out of it, and then get divorced so he can get his inheritance. And it ends up that she joins him and his family for Christmas, and she kind of falls in love with the family, and she's fake dating him. But his sister is actually this woman that she had a one-night stand with a year ago and really saw, possibilities with, but then it kind of never happened. They never saw each other again. And that woman is the man that she's supposed to be marrying sister, so chaos ensues from there. There's a lot of heartwarming Christmas family activities in here, and she is having this family time that she's never had before, and she's falling in love with the family, and she loves the sister, but she's lying to everyone, and she doesn't know what to do, and of course rom-com-y kind of stuff happens. And I thought this was heartwarming and just a very, very good Christmas romance. I liked this a lot. Give it 4 stars. Yes, I liked this a lot and I gave it 4 stars. I would highly recommend if you're looking for a Christmas romance. This is probably the best one that I've read. Obviously it's sapphic, so you have to be into that. I read Krampus from the library by Brom, and that was a fun time. It was a little bit bro-y for me, less literary than something like Slewfoot was. And I mean, the protagonist and antagonist, I guess, they're all men. There's barely any women in the story at all, actually. So maybe that is what I wasn't a fan of. But I like the Krampus aspects to it. I liked Krampus. I liked the character of him in the story. I liked the folklore, minions, and I thought that was interesting. But I didn't love the story's about Krampus trying to kill Santa, I guess. And it's Norse mythology intertwined in there. He is mad that Santa has basically bastardized Yule and nobody loves him anymore. You know, nobody leaves treats out for Krampus anymore so that their kids won't be shoved into sacks. So he's upset about that. And then there's this guy named Jesse who is not like a great dad, and he wants to be a musician, but he's not really putting himself out there and not letting people hear his music. And he has his daughter and he doesn't have custody of her, and you know, he wants to give her something for Christmas. He finds Santa's bag. He's able to give her some toys, and then he gets wrapped up into this battle against Krampus. And he also, there's some like crime, like dirty cop situation going on in there, and organized crime. And I didn't really like those bits. I still gave it 4 stars. I still thought it was entertaining. There's just too many men. Too many men. Still entertained enough to give it 4 stars. But I would have liked it more if it was just like, didn't have those other bits. Not an organized crime, action-packed type of girl. So I thought it was leaned more horror, entertainment horror, which is what it is. So I shouldn't be mad about it, but that took down my enjoyment a little bit. Great as like a movie though, you know, like that would be really, really cool. Krampus is already a movie. I love that movie. But I read The Third Gilmore Girl, which is Kelly Bishop's memoir, and I enjoyed it. I thought that was worth a listen. I needed to listen to a memoir to get like one of those Goodreads award things, so I did. So for some reason I do those accidentally, and then I almost do all of them. So I'm like, well, I want to finish all of them since I've accidentally hit the rest of them, and it's stupid, but for some reason my brain wants to. I listened to that and I thought that was worth a listen. It talks about her life before Gilmore Girls, during Gilmore Girls. Talks about the loss of her husband, which was pretty sad, and the loss of her co-star, which was pretty sad. So I thought it was an interesting read. Read Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair, 3.5 in this world. It's fantasy, a story of Lilith, and she has some magic, but in this world women aren't supposed to wield magic. They're supposed to give their magic and let men use their magic when they're married to them instead of using that magic themselves. So like all the power comes from the woman, but they don't actually wield the power. They're not supposed to wield the power. And in this world, there's these districts, and they're like the ones that are closest to Eden or heaven or whatever, and the ones that are farthest are like the city of sin. So she runs away to the city of sin because she doesn't want to get married. There's a theme in these books. She doesn't want to be married off, so she goes in to the city of sin, and she is trying to make a life for herself there. So she runs away, finds or is trying to. She steals this dagger using some of her magical abilities, and once she goes to sell it, the guy just like drops dead, and there's mystery surrounding this dagger, and she is being hunted because of this dagger, and there's something weird with it and a mystery surrounding it. Also I gave it a 3.5. I thought it was interesting. I would read the next one for sure from the library. I wouldn't purchase it. It's the first one, so I got that from the library. It was a good reading month for me. I think my favorites of the month were The Hounding and The Second Death of Locke. So that is my wrap up for the month of December. It's going to take me forever to edit. Ellie is here, and I actually have my marathon this week, so we'll see. I just wanted to get this done and so I can put away my books. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below about any of these books that you have read or that you might be interested in. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.